Everyone, and welcome to the June 9th, 2022 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board. Meeting will now come to order. May we have a roll call, Madam Secretary?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Marsh,
Here.
Mr. Reinhardt, Mr. Gonzalez,
Present.
Ms. Roby,
Here.
Mr. Harrington, Ms. Turner,
Here.
and Ms. Weegee.
Here. We'll have a motion to excuse Mr. Reinhardt and Mr. Harrington.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion, Ms. Roby, second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Mr. Reinhardt may be here, or they both may come, so then we'll have to figure that out at the time. Okay, did everybody get a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Are there any additions, corrections? All right, motion to approve?
So moved.
Who was that?
One of us.
One of
Okay. Motion, Ms. Marsh, second, Ms. Roby, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Does anyone need to disclose any ex parte communication? All right. And Madam Secretary, do we have any announcements?
Yes, ma'am. Page 4. Case number 4. CEB 0522-101, Clement and Company, and Capital Partners, 326 Phoenix Avenue is in compliance as of 6/7/22. Page 10, case 26, CEB 0522-115, John Carter via Zoom. Address is 324 Franklin Street.
Okay.
Page 11. Case 32, CEB 0622-135, Humberto Colin and Vera Lynette, 288 Boston Avenue, is in compliance as of 5/27/22. Page 14. Case number 42, CEB 0622-140, 728 Ruby Street, the last name I cannot pronounce, is in compliance 6/7/22. And Inspectors Clegg, John Baptiste, and Mr. Yates will not be here today.
Okay, and Mr. Jones will be taking
Yes.
over their case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So would the code officers please stand up and be sworn in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, everyone, here's our procedure. We'll be calling cases by number and for the most part as they are listed on the agenda. If there are any attorneys present that need to be in court, we'll hear those cases first. If there are any police officers that need to get back to duty assignment, we'll also hear those cases. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. And if you're not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owner and tell us whether you have permission to speak for that person. Our proceedings are recorded, so please speak into the mic. The board hears from our code officers first, and then you'll be given the opportunity to respond. Please direct all of your responses to the board. We don't have side conversations going on. That can happen out front. Witnesses may, in certain circumstances, testify as well. If we're not finished by 11 o'clock, we'll take a break, a 5-minute break. So we're going to start with our lien reviews.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
before we start with the lien reviews, I need a clarification on a procedural matter with the lien reviews.
Okay, what is it?
I have two issues that I need clarification on. One is, I noticed we received 1, 2, and 4, no number 3, so I'm wondering what happened with that.
Okay,
It was taken out. They reviewed it at the office with the,
Okay, in our ethics class, they taught us that the public has the right to know
what the outcome?
exactly.
Okay,
So I'd like to know why was it pulled?
okay. Do we have the outcome of that?
Yeah, the only, hang on. Which one was pulled?
number 3.
0808246 Euclid,
It's not,
lien review 3.
it's not pulled.
I didn't get it back. I didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have it on the agenda, and it is intended to be on the agenda.
Oh, well, we didn't receive the package for it. That's why I asked the question.
Back. They never gave,
Is it in the book?
they never gave you the, or the, or anything from it.
Okay.
So
You
are
guys
we
don't have-
doing?
You guys don't have the packet in the book?
No.
You know, I apologize for that. It's just a clerical error. It was publicly noticed. All the notices have been given for it. And we're in agreement. Both parties are in agreement, so
It's a go.
it's a go, yes.
Still on the agenda.
And the other party is here.
All right, so it's still on the agenda.
So we will still hear it?
Yes.
Okay, we're still
that's
going to
okay.
hear it. Okay.
Then my second question was, I noticed that lien reviews 1 and 2, the same address, same people, same violations, but two different stories. So I need some clarification
So lien
as
reviews,
to the process.
yes, so lien reviews are placed on the agenda based on the lien. So if there's 2 liens on a property, there will be 2 different lien reviews, one for the first lien and one for the second lien. Does that clarify that, or do you have any other questions?
Kind of, sort of. I hear what you're saying, but, in my opinion, it's, if there's a lien review, then we just follow through on that. I don't see the
It's not the
sense.
same, I
Well,
don't.
I think-
It's not the same case. It's 2 different cases.
I think it's probably best if I explain how we've changed the lien review process, because I think some of the concerns you have will not be as big of an issue. So they're separated out as separate lien reviews because they are separate liens. You could make a decision on one lien and maybe not make a decision on another lien based on the circumstances. They have different ages, different timeframes, different timeframes in which they achieve compliance. All of those things are different based on the 2 liens and when they started and when they were imposed. But we typically, or in the past, both the magistrate and the code board have discussed kind of these liens packaged together at the time of discussion. It keeps it kind of all centralized into one kind of case. We list them out separately. Now, because there are times when they need to be broken out separately. Now, what we've changed last month was that we've been pre-meeting with people. That was an attempt to kind of shorten some of the time frame in the meeting when we've been just having conversations. There really are business conversations at the podium, and they turned into hour different presentations for one lien review, for example. This was at the urgence of the magistrates, as well as I think you guys had expressed some frustration as well with the length of time and the distance between the 2 offers. So what we did is we set up time before the meeting each month where we pre-meet with the people in hopes that the parties will come to an agreed number, and then we can present it to you guys for approval. If we don't reach an agreed number, we will also come back and tell you if we close the gap at all, and tell you the gap up front, so that it makes the decision essentially a little bit easier for you. That's the hope, is that you kind of know where both parties stand, listen to both the facts, sets of facts, and then you guys will be able to make a better informed decision at that point.
Right.
And if we're just completely at odds, we will not prevent anybody from still coming before you. If they want to come before you, then they will come before you, and they will present their case, and we will take our position, and you guys will be able to make the decision just like you did in the past. Now, there are going to be some times where things are pulled off the agenda. You probably won't see that as regularly after this one, because we've set up the system where they don't go on the agenda until this review process is done, and we've adjusted that time frame on the review process to occur before your final agendas go out. But if they're pulled, like the one you were concerned about before, if it had been pulled, it would have been pulled because in that conversation, we had encouraged the owner to do something more before they came back for lien review to better their case. And that's really how those conversations will happen, and when they get pulled. And the pull is a choice that the owner of the property makes. They're choosing to take it off the agenda because it's their request to apply for a lien review.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
Okay, let's move on to lien review 1, CEB 06-17-72, 1348 Woodbine Street, Roy D. Helton. Respondent present? Come on up.
He's not here.
That's okay.
Just not for this case, I don't think.
My name is Brett Crawley, and I was ordered to be here today, affidavit to be here, and my case was not called, and zoning agent is not here.
Okay, but you're not here for this lien review.
No, but I was ordered to be here at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, we haven't called the cases yet. They're called as we go through the agenda. There's agendas outside. I think you actually might have one.
Oh, I do, but I heard you call cases. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying those were the only cases to be heard today.
No.
No,
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 no.
no.
41 cases.
Sorry, I
We're
couldn't
gonna hear.
couldn't
Okay.
hear in
40
the back.
cases, don't worry about it. You can get 40 cases.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on there. Thank you.
Okay. Is,
Yeah, for everybody else's clarification, the cases that were called were cases that were in compliance or are being attended by Zoom. Those were just announcements to inform the board about changes that occurred before the hearing date.
Gotcha. What about the fact that my agent is not here?
that would be up to you.
Well, I haven't,
Let's not hear this case now.
Yeah, all right, we'll,
well, I should actually, if I
Look
could,
at, no, we can't.
At the time your
We'll
case
get-
is heard, we'll hear what you have to
can do
say.
anything else
we
you want.
will hear your case, and then you can tell us what.
the city doesn't even know why I'm here today. I don't think the zoning.
Okay,
agent-
please sit down. We need to move on. Lien review number 1. Is anyone here for lien review? Please come up, sir.
So this is one, like I was discussing before, so the city has met with the respondent in this case, the applicant in this case,
Okay.
and their representative. And on this particular lien review number 1, we've agreed to reduce it to $1,000. Both parties in an agreement.
That's your wish?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's for
Well,
lien review
would you
1.
please introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay, my name is Will Akers. I'm an attorney for the estate of Roy Helton, who is
Excuse me.
the owner of the property, the former owner. And I represent the personal representative of the estate, his wife, who is in Missouri. But she attended our meeting yesterday via a Zoom format, and she's on board with this too.
Well, the 1,000 is okay.
Say again?
You're fine with the $1,000?
Yes.
Okay. Need a motion?
All right, we need a motion to accept the agreement that was reached between the city and the respondent
I like,
to reduce the amount of lien to $1,000. Is there a
Payable within
motion?
30 days.
Payable within 30 days.
discussion.
Well, let's get a motion in a second, and then we'll have discussion. Do we have a motion? Ms. Roby, do we have a second? Ms. Himes, all in favor? Say, well, let's have discussion. Go ahead.
Okay, since we have 2 cases involving the same people, that means that a lot of administrative, staff time and all that good stuff has happened. And I would think that, to me, it would be acceptable to 1,000 plus administrative costs.
Yeah, so that was considered at the time of conversation, and that's why it was reduced to 1,000. We typically ballpark administrative costs at about 10% of the lien. You know, that absent of having some specific calculation that shows some exorbitant number higher than that, that would cover it. And there's circumstances related to this where the party who owns the property passed away. The wife believed the first case had been taken care of by her husband and was unaware because the communication was occurring between the husband. And then in the aftermath of his passing, the second lien gets imposed as well. And there'll be a different recommendation on the second lien, but we considered that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I appreciate this new process, but I don't get my questions answered using this new process.
Well, you should feel the right to go and ask those questions. That's why we come back before you to approve the
Right.
decision. So if you have questions or concerns, you can ask them. That's why we encourage both parties to be here.
Okay. It seems to me with case 1 and 2 that there were a lot of assumptions that were made by the respondent. And that she could have seen the condition of the property if she lived there, when she lived there, because those things existed when she lived there, as far as I can see. Would you like?
As I understand it, she was living there or in the city
Okay,
in the regard to the first lien. In regard to the second lien, after his death, she was not in
Right.
town.
Right.
She was in Missouri.
okay. Well, we don't generally excuse someone because they've just left the property, but, okay. And the other thing is,
Some
I
of
think,
the mitigating circumstances are that this property was in just his name.
was what?
It was just in his name, her husband's name.
Yeah,
And so
that's true, yeah.
communication was
Okay.
being very,
That makes
controlled by him.
Okay.
And she believed it had been resolved, and
Okay.
of course it wasn't. And you're right, everything you said is correct. She's still responsible for it.
Right.
And then ultimately on the second lien, she was in communication with staff and had made the corrections.
Okay.
And of course, this is their representation, and that staff had not been made aware for reinspection prior
Okay.
to the lien being imposed.
All right, and my other question, this is just in general, well, is that, I mean, most of the time that we reduce liens to the minimum amount and do administrative fees, we don't really reduce it below $1,500. I think that most of our decisions have been that administrative costs are $1,500.
Since we're
So how did you, and I hear you saying 10% of what the total amount is. And it was 10,000, so, but we still hadn't gone by that before because this
So each
case.
case is handled on its own merit.
Yeah, each case is
So
on
this-
its own
this
merit.
rec-
Okay.
I will say, just so, since you've been
Other
kind
one
of,
general
you've
question.
been talking about both lien reviews kind of
Yeah.
mixed together here. The request in the agreement on the second lien review is $6,500.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if that helps.
Yeah,
with your
well,
decision
okay.
making.
Yeah, I just have to get used to this new procedure, that's all. Make sure that we get our questions answered. All right, so we have a motion and a second
Need 4
on,
votes.
what?
Need 4 votes.
Motion and a second on the floor. There,
Hold the roll.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Okay,
Motion
passes.
carries.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on to number 2, lien review 2. All right, so go ahead. What did you agree to?
We agreed.
I'm sorry, yeah, for lien review 2, we met with them before the meeting, and we've agreed, both parties have agreed to $6,500.
Okay. And you agree, you're.
Yes,
agreeable with
ma'am.
that? Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
I would make a motion that we accept the city's agreement of $6,500 to settle this case.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to agree to approve the agreement, and the money is due and payable within 30 days. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, now, what do we do with lien review 3? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, staff's not clear on whether we voted on it first.
We
We
did.
did.
We did. Everyone voted in the
Everybody-
affirmative.
Yes.
Okay. What are we doing with lien review number 3, since we don't have it here? What can you tell us about that?
So, I think you can see on your agenda. Thank you, guys. I think you can see on your agenda that the lien was imposed on September 11, 2008. It was at $50 a day, plus recording costs. I believe it was a max of, doesn't say on here, I think it was a max of $10,000. And it came into compliance by November 24th of 2008, so the lien stopped at $3,722. They were pretty quick to react once the lien got imposed. We have met with them, and both parties have agreed to reduce it to $2,000.
I would ask, I don't think you called it out as far as.
I have not. I'm going to. All right, I'm sorry. We are going to, we're going to hear lien review number 3 now, CEB 0808246, 337 Euclid. Would you gentlemen introduce yourselves, please? Be sworn in.
My name is Bruce Johns. I'm actually the renter and attorney representing Mr. Hurst, who's the owner.
I'm Chris Hurst. I live at 553 North Ridgewood, Norman Beach, and I am the owner.
Okay.
Will you raise your right hand?
You can be sworn
You
in.
don't have to sworn in to share.
Mr. Hurst,
It's me.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is agreeable to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, there's plenty of pain to go around here, and so
Okay.
we've compromised to the point where nobody likes it.
So we're reducing it to, what was the amount?
$2,000.
So how much?
2,000.
How do we know whatever the hardship was? We usually get a letter of hardship or some explanation as to why it's being reduced.
The hardship that we mentioned in our lien review, sir, was basically a due process issue. And we've talked about that with Captain Lee and his staff. Part of the problem is this is back in 2008, and there were issues about whether or
Yes.
not there was service and stuff like that. Captain Lee provided us with some evidentiary documentation that seemed to indicate that it may not have been the issue we thought. But on the other hand, we also feel that there's evidentiary issues with something coming at this time. And that's why we agreed to compromise.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a resolution. And so they obviously started at a complete waiver. Not everybody does, but because of the due process issue, they wanted to reduce it to 0. And through that conversation, we explained to them how due process was met, and the record supported that. And, but we did have concerns about, this being a 2008 lien. And, as we talked about it, we felt $2,000 was the right appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so is there a motion to accept the agreement and approve the amount of $2,000 payable within 30 days in CEB, case number CEB 0808246, lien review number 3? Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Roby, a second from Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like, sign, and post. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And I do want to mention that I really appreciate Captain Lee and his staff. They were very gracious with their time and explained to Mr. Hurst and I some issues that we weren't aware of, and I think this is an excellent process.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Do we pay that here? Because we're prepared to pay it today.
If you step over to Denzel Sykes, give him your email, and we will send the invoice to you. You can pay it online as soon as you get it.
Okay. Now, we'll move on to lien review number 4, CEB 10-21-290, 515 Rybalt, Lawrence and Hester Grace Trust. Anyone here?
I believe she's attending by Zoom.
Oh, hello.
Ma'am, your microphone is still muted. If you could unmute for us.
Are you there?
Sorry, yes, good morning.
Okay, good. Could you please be sworn in?
State your name, please.
Amy Buteau.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Amy Buteau.
Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So both parties have met on this one, and we agreed to reduce it to $1,000. This is, just to give you some background, this was a property that was in probate and was having some issues with ownership. And ultimately, those issues got resolved. This party bought the property and immediately started working on the property. A tremendous turnaround in its appearance. It was having significant impact on the neighborhood prior to their ownership, and it had the reverse after their ownership, which is that we had a lot of outpouring of people very appreciative of both code enforcement and their efforts to clean up this house. And it is now being sold to a family to live in the house. So.
Okay,
What's the relationship with Ms. Bupo?
Thank you.
excuse me?
What is her relationship to this process?
I am the owner's assistant. I work for Abel Sterling Property and Development.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, we need a motion to accept the agreement, accept and approve the agreement, reducing the fine to $1,000 payable within 30 days. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
A motion, Ms. Roby. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. March. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Nay.
Okay.
4-1.
4-1, motion still passes. We needed 4, right?
Right.
Okay. Motion passes. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a quick question if I may.
Go ahead.
To Captain Lee. Captain Lee, in these cases that you all have reached agreements, they are all in compliance, is that correct?
Yes, they have to be.
Yeah, they are not eligible to be heard as a lien review unless they are in compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we won't even review them. Or if during the review process, we realize that they are not in compliance, like this month we did, we pull that because they need to correct those things before they can
Okay.
complete that process.
Okay, I don't mean to be dense about this, but I just need a little time to get used to this idea, and especially when I'm reading over the lien review papers, I need to keep in mind, when do you generally reach these conclusions and agreements?
So we've adjusted the timeline, so theoretically, we should be reaching the agreement prior to you guys receiving the packet.
Yeah, that would be great, so
yeah.
we could see.
Yeah, we are going to make some adjustments as we
Okay.
go forward, and obviously, this was a good learning experience for
Right.
us, just hearing your guys' questions and concerns.
Right.
And we do plan on adjusting the appearance of the agenda to make it better informative, but also probably including some type of form within the packet so that you guys have some awareness of where both parties started and where they came
Right,
to.
right.
And I think that would better probably
It would really,
help.
yeah, it would really help. Okay,
And
you
if I-
agree?
If I could add, yes,
Go
I
ahead.
agree. I recently took the ethics class, and the ethics class in statute 112, I believe it is, it says that the public has the right to know the information regarding the cases. And so this is why I'm asking the questions, because not should they just know, but we should know as well beforehand
Yeah,
about
I
the
agree.
decisions.
And
Agree.
again, you guys should feel the opportunity to ask any questions during that process. We're not trying to obstruct the process.
Right.
We're just trying to make it more efficient and more effective, both to be respectful of your time and staff's time as well.
Yeah,
Well, actually, we're giving up some time to make this happen, but, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little slower today because I knew you were doing that, but I didn't exactly understand the process. So, and,
And if you see issues arise as we go along, please let me know, and we'll make
Okay.
adjustments as needed.
okay. All right, now we're going to move on to our old cases. our continued cases, as we call them. Then we'll do case number 1, CEB 05-22-122, Arena Wholesale, Inc., 809 Niles. Mr. Jones, good morning.
Good morning. Mark Jones, Neighborhood Service Supervisor. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, we've had no contact with the owner. There's been no progress, as you can see from the recent photos. Staff is recommending a fine of $100 a day with a cap of 15. The property is vacant.
Did you say 100 a day?
Yeah, 100 a day.
Any comments from the board?
I would make a motion that we accept the city's recommendation, in this case, to levy a fine of $100 a day. I think it's up to 10,000, is it?
15.
15,000, to begin today.
Okay, and
Continue
continue
to-
until compliance is achieved.
Yes, and to continue till compliance is achieved.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Case number 2, CEB 0322-79, Clarence John Haney. And this is Mr. Jones again. He's filling in for Mr. Baptiste, okay?
Yes, since last hearing, the inspector has had several communications with the owner. They have made a lot of progress. They've applied for the permit, and the repairs that were
good.
requested are ongoing. Staff is requesting to amend to the July cutoff.
Okay. All right, so there's been a lot of progress. All right.
Yes.
Any questions from the board? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 7/6/2022 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. March. Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, case number 3. Mr. Bostwick. Case number 3 is CEB 0522-117, Kimberly Lacey. Good morning.
Morning, Board. Inspector Bostwick, credentials on file. All right, since the last hearing, no contact with the owner, no progress, no permit was pulled for the roof. Staff requests a fine of $100 a day, capped at $10,000.
Any comments from the board? All right. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, case number 4 is in compliance. Case number 5, CEB 04-22-83, Melissa Cheney. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Melissa Cheney, 316 Fletcher Avenue.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from Mr. Jones first, and then we'll give you a chance to tell us what you'd like.
Yes, since last hearing, I and Inspector Stenson have had contacts with the property owner. They have made a lot of progress cleaning up. They still have a ways to go. Staff is requesting to amend to the next cutoff.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
I'd just like to say that we've made a lot of improvements.
Good.
I don't know if you can see the pictures here. We're just trying to wrap up loose ends, and they're taking a little bit longer than we anticipated. This right here is a picture of our, we're building the screens. There's 27 windows just in one of the houses. So we're building the window screens there. That stuff's been removed there. Right now, we've pretty much scraped all the windows. We just have to do that far side. We put the skirting up. That trailer is gone, and the trailer next to it, we tried to move it to the concrete yesterday. We had a problem with the hitch. It'll be moved to the concrete, and the red one will be gone also. So we're getting there. That front stoop has been, that doesn't look like that anymore. That's been repaired, and that
Now, am I correct in some of my minutes, I saw that you were looking to the government to get help, and there was some foreclosure involved?
yeah, actually, it's a lien from y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, I can speak to that, Madam.
Okay,
Chair.
please.
Yeah, there is a foreclosure that's been filed by the city regarding the city liens. It's actually scheduled for summary judgment on the 12th, I believe.
15th.
I'm sorry?
I believe it's the 15th,
Okay,
maybe.
somewhere around there.
Really soon, so.
Within a week or so. And that process is it's still a process. So if indeed the summary judgment is successful, then what happens, it gets scheduled for a judicial sale, and that generally is at least 45 days or so at a minimum. So if she's working on it, then that's, or whatever action she wants to take in the foreclosure, that's, independent.
That's a separate issue.
Right, nothing.
I really am unclear about what to do or what's going on with the whole thing. All I know is we're doing all we can to improve the property. I really hate to lose my home to, code enforcement lien
Opposed to
fines.
anyone trying to improve, so if that's what she's doing, we're not opposed to that.
Right.
My question is that this has been going on since July of last year.
Yes, it has. It has. There's a lot of things that led up to that, a lot of things going on, and money issues and time issues. And, I could go into all that, but the bottom line is I'm responsible for it. I understand that, and that's what we're trying to do.
Do you live there?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, because of the active litigation and status of where we are in the case, it would be our preference to continue and not move forward any type of
Right, okay.
fine at this juncture.
Thank you.
Well, then we need a motion. Does anybody have any other comments? Motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent, would this be next month, till 7/6/22 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Ms. Himes made the motion, second Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to case number 6, CEB 0422-84, Hattie Jackson. All right, Mr. Jones, is anybody here for Hattie Jackson? Well, Hattie Jackson, I think, is deceased, is that correct?
Her grandson appeared last.
And her grandson, Mr. Stubbs, was here last time? Okay. But not here this time? Okay. Go ahead, please.
Yes, since
Joe.
last hearing, I have met with the grandson. He stated he wasn't going to come to the hearing today. He cannot get the permits because he hasn't attempted to put the property into his name yet, so he can't get the permits for the work. And the outside storage and everything that we noted on the original violation still hasn't been cleaned up. He has a couple of refrigerators sitting outside. I met with them on June 3rd, and you can see that he still has all the outside storage there. Staff's requesting a fine of $100 a day with a cap of 15.
Any comments from the board? All right, Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? Is this an owner-occupied property?
Yeah, well, it is
Or
the-
family?
It's a family member who is
Right.
living there.
Stubbs
Okay.
is living there.
So we change our recommendation to a max of $10,000.
Okay. So we'll make a correction before we get the motion until it reaches a max of amend it to $10,000. Is such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. All right.
Could I reflect Mr. Reinhardt's here?
Who is here? Oh, hello.
Okay.
I didn't see you. All right. Please note that Mr. Reinhardt is present now. Thank you.
Number 7.
Not absent anymore. All right, where are we? Case 7, CEB 04 on page 5. 0422-92. Yanervi Vieira Lorenzo. Anybody here? Morning, Mr. Butler.
Good morning.
What would you like to tell us about this case?
Inspector Butler, credentials on file with the City of Daytona Beach. As it pertains to 1301 3rd Street, since last month court proceedings, I've had contact with the owner, and per Trichet, they have applied for the permit, and that was done on March 24, 2022. However, it's not approved at this time. I spoke with Permits and License, who's also reached out to the owner. However, still no progress. Staff requests $100 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
You said that she applied for the permit when?
It was applied for on March the 24th,
Did
2022.
Permits and Licensing tell you what the holdup was?
At this point, he still has not responded to them. They also spoke with him as well, and still no progress. And it's as simple as getting a permit, and that has not been taken care
But they applied for the
of.
permit.
It has not been approved, so therefore there are some issues that he needs to take care of.
Before he can get a permit.
Yes, and he's not moving forward with it.
Okay, now I get
I
it.
can look them up for you in just a second. I'm just
Okay.
trying to get into the database.
So I need more clarification. So they applied for the permit.
On the 24th of March.
The permit department is the holdup.
No.
No.
No?
No.
It's something they haven't.
They've told him
Yes.
to do something to
Yes.
comply.
To get
Yes.
the permit.
Yeah,
In
So
order
last
to get a
month-
permit, he has to do something, but he hasn't responded to that.
Got it.
Yeah, it's not, a-
Gonzalez may not have heard Captain Lee. He's looking that up just so he
Yeah.
can be able to give you a little more information about the permit.
Okay, thank you.
But while he's looking that up, just to share, I went another step and reached out to Permits and License to reach out to him,
Right.
just seeking to help him.
Right.
They told him what he needed to do, and he still has not.
Okay, okay,
So
that's
it's back
clear.
on him.
That's clear.
yeah, so, it looks like 2 permits were applied for. Let me make sure I'm in the right one here. Yes, the one was applied for on March 24th of this year. It went under review status, which means that staff went through it and reviewed it. There were corrections that needed to be made. Those corrections were sent back to the customer on April 13th of this year, and they have not been corrected. And that has not been updated.
And what was the other permit, where although that's something that we're not even
Correct.
concerned with?
Correct, at this time,
Okay,
correct.
at this time. All right, so what's your recommendation?
$100 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Roby and a second from Mr. Gonzalez to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Case number 8, CEB, oh, sorry. Oh, did we vote?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Case number 8, CEB 0522-110. Christopher and Stella Durbin. They here? No?
No.
Okay.
As re-
Mr. Butler.
I'm sorry. As pertains to 1145 Essence, since last month's court proceedings, I've had several contacts with this resident at the property, and there's no progress towards compliance. This property is a major blight in the community. Staff requests $200 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
Wow.
So you've spoken to them?
On several occasions.
And what do they say? Just to, We'll get to it? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. What is it that they say they're doing?
We'll get it taken care of, but as you can see, the pictures
Right.
don't lie. And that's
Right.
the results
Yeah,
that you
well, I
get.
can see that for sure.
And every layer of our organization.
Every what?
Every layer of our organization has had contact with them and tried to resolve this. It is a significant community impact.
Are they elderly or?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Well, I make the motion that we impose a fine of $200 a day as recommended by the city. I guess it's to a cap of 15,000,
10,000.
10,000.
10,000.
How much was it? 200?
Yeah, 200 a day for the fine to start today until they come into compliance.
All right, perfect. All right, we have a motion from Mr. Gonzalez and a second from Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
I do have a
Motion-
question, though.
Oh, all right.
But it.
Motion
none of
carries?
that.
Okay.
If they don't clean it up and it gets to the 10,000, what's the next step as far as being?
Lean.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
currently under legal review for additional court action, so I have it under current legal review.
Okay, so there is another step, because it doesn't look like to me these people are gonna clean it up.
Understood.
Okay. All right, case number 9, CEB 01-22-16, Maybelle Bazell. Okay.
As pertains to 1058 North Libby Court, I did speak with Ms. Brazel, who's unable to attend court here this morning. But since our last month court proceedings, all the documents have been signed. And currently, we're waiting on the attorney to process the paperwork through. And this is a probate issue for a roof. And as you can see, the documents have been signed.
What is your recommendation?
What's your recommendation?
Staff recommend that we amend to the August cutoff.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 8/3/2022 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, there's second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 10, CEB 05-22-118, Gwendolyn Frost. Good morning, Mr. Stenson.
Good morning. Inspector Stinson. Qualifications are on file with the city. Since the last hearing, I've been in contact with this property owner who's been making good progress. Permits for the curbing have been applied for and approved by the Public Works Department. The permits for the fencing and the shed are currently under review. I'd like to amend this case to the July cutoff.
Okay. Chair will entertain, any questions from the board? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 7/6 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion, Ms. Marsh, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 11, CEB 05-22-119, Violet Bars. Okay. Last time her daughter was here. This time, no one's here. Okay.
Since the last hearing, I've been in regular contact with Ms. Barr's daughter. They have corrected all of the issues except for the window. There have been some issues with her getting the permit. She had to work through having the power of attorney because the property is not in her name. As of yesterday, she did have a contractor hired to apply for the permits. I'd like to amend this case to the July cutoff.
Okay. Chair will entertain, any questions from the board? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until July 6th to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second? Second, Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 12, CEB 05-22-120, Eloise Jones, care of, is that what that means, Sean Stafford? Okay,
Since the last hearing, I've been in regular contact via email and phone with Mr. Stafford. The structure has been painted. The brick portion of the property still needs to be pressure washed. Some of the fencing has been removed, but there's still some fencing that remains that's entangled with the neighbor's trees. The fascia work has been performed and completed on the roof. However, it has not reached the point of compliance yet. I'd like to give him until the next cutoff to finish this off.
because they are working on this.
Yes.
And Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
the respondent also was not able to attend, but submitted some documentation kind of late.
Okay.
So we've given it to, or we've printed it here, and I'm going to give it to you to pass around
Okay.
to it.
Is that going to change your recommendation? Yep. No. Okay.
All right, all right. Well, they seem to be doing some work to it. I don't have time to go through all of this right now. I don't know what all of this is. What is all this stuff? Advertisements. What is this?
I think it speaks to the reason why he's not here.
Great. Okay.
We just didn't want it to, he asked that it be given to you. We didn't want to exclude it from the record.
Okay. It looks like there's still extensive work to be done, right?
I think what he pointed out at last meeting is that he's also, that it was in probate.
Oh, I see, that looks better.
And
All right.
waiting
Okay.
probate before, if he's got a full permit, he would need the probate to complete. But he's also anticipating a sale upon the completion of probate in July, I think it was.
Correct.
So,
Well, that
and I think
that just means somebody else gets added to it if it's not corrected by then, right? So I think you said that, I'm sorry, I wasn't here, so I just need to be caught up a little. So is he the new owner, Stafford?
he's the heir.
He's the
That's
heir.
waiting for probate. One.
Okay, and he's waiting for probate, and they're moving along with that.
Yes.
Okay. But there isn't a new owner yet, he just thinks there's going to be.
Correct.
Okay.
I think there's a contract, right?
It is under contract.
It is under contract.
As is contract.
Okay.
Your recommendation.
Okay, so and your recommendation is to amend?
Yes,
To the next
amend to the
cutoff?
next
Right.
cutoff, please.
Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order. Any questions before we do this? Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until July 6th to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Roby. Second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, we are now going to hear case number 20 because we have a medical issue involved here, and we need to get this person into a more comfortable situation. So case 20 is on
Page
8.
Madam Chair, or just the entire board, we're having a little bit of trouble picking up your votes and stuff on the microphone. So you can just make sure your microphones are on and you're saying them into the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hear me without.
All right, case number 20, CEB 0221-44, Mr. Keith Thomas. 622 Marion Street. Ms. Kirk. Well, be sworn in, please, Mr.
State your name, please.
Keith Thomas.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All Lord.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Kirk.
Okay, good morning. My name's Sarah Kirk, inspector with the city. My credentials are on file. Mr. Keith Thomas, he is still on the city's waiting list. There is a roof permit issued currently, so everything's in the works, so we're just waiting right now. So at this time, I'd like to ask to amend to the September hearing for compliance.
Okay, how's that sound to you, Mr. Thomas?
Amazing.
How's that sound to you?
Amazing.
Okay, good.
And check this out. They ain't finna do the roof, Miss Ouija. They sent a guy to come out, an engineer, and the house too damaged. So I'm in the process of dealing with Miss Robinson and the gentleman back here, Mr. Bill. They got me on a program where they finna tear the house down and rebuild another one. So I don't think I need to come back in here no more.
We'll see. Well, let's get, what we need to do is ask if code is aware of this new situation.
Well, I'm trying to bring it to y'all attention now. Is everybody hearing me? Can you hear me now? Y'all got me on the right path. Hey, Mr. Gonzalez, I'm fine.
Your recommendation is to come back even with this knowledge?
No, don't come
No,
back.
stop now. I'm talking.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm still waiting on official response. As of right now, the roof permit's still issued. There was termite damage that was discovered, but I haven't seen anything, in writing showing that they are going to demolish the house yet. There's no demo permit open. So that's why I was going to ask to amend to September.
Yeah.
Right, and in addition to that, a documentation saying something will happen is not compliance. So the issues have to be resolved, the violations have to be remediated. So we would wait or need to wait until we would assume that demolition would resolve those issues.
Right.
So we would be able to market in compliance at that point, but not on a piece of paper. It'll have to be on the act. Yeah, of resolving it.
Any other questions from the board? All right.
I should say that if we can secure a date that they plan to do demolition, we can extend the deadline beyond that.
So we'll get that information.
Which will save everybody from having to come back here.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to accept the
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Himes to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until, that's 8/31, to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Did you get that vote? Do you hear that? Okay, all right.
We good?
Okay, we're good. We'll see you in September.
All right. Thank y'all.
Okay.
Hey, check it out, Miss Ouija.
What?
When I come back in September, who do the scheduling for this? You know I'm on y'all list, so why I gotta be all the way at the end? You know my back messed up. I can't sit long.
Well,
And can you tell them to put me on after the liens, the first one after the liens, so I ain't gotta wait, Miss Ouija? Cause check it out. I had brung my.
Sir, just when you get here next time, if you're not up on the front end of it, just see the clerk right here, and we'll get it squared away there.
You amazing. Thank you, Captain.
yeah, we'll get it squared away.
All right. Cause see, I had brung a doctor list saying I can't stand long and sit long.
Right.
But I see that people just keep saying forget what the doctor say. Excuse me. Sorry about that, sir. I'm sorry. You all right? Yep. You look good too. Thank you, brother.
All right, have a nice day.
Later. Thank you.
Have a great summer.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's see, where were we? Case number 13. CEB 0522-95, Brian Zahn and Tiffany DeJesus. Anybody here? Okay. All right, Mr. Jones.
Yes, since last hearing, the inspector has had no contact with the property owner. They have made no progress. And staff's requesting a fine of $100 a day with a cap of 15.
Is this a rental property? Is it occupied, I guess is my
Yes,
question.
the property is occupied. I do not know if it's a rental.
Well, I mean, does that, so you're recommending $100 a day up to 15. Does that mean it's a rental property?
It just means it's not owner occupied.
Right.
Right, it's not, or not owner occupied, right, okay. But we don't, but you say it is, somebody's living in there, that to your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Roby. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Now, I can say motion carries, what, is it 6-0? Because there are only 6 of us here, right? Yeah, right? Do you want me to do that?
Either way.
If I remember? Okay. Case number 14. CB 04-22-87, Taisha Mendez.
Yes, this case is for an unpermitted structure. You can see that there on the screen. Since the last hearing, there's been no contact with the owner. There's been no application for the large shed that was installed. Staff is requesting a fine of $100 a day with a cap of $10,000.
Are they using that as a house?
We can't verify that anyone's living in there. It appears, the way it's designed, that it could be used as a residence, but we have no proof that it is.
Okay,
I mean, there is a primary structure on the site,
all right. But there's no permit for it, so.
not for the shed.
Right,
No.
okay. Chair will entertain, any questions? Any other questions? Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Reinhardt, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0. Okay. Case number 15, CEB 05-22-113, Lawton B. and Esther B. Thomas. Okay.
This is a case that was opened for a unmaintained vacant parcel. Since last hearing, we've had no contact with the property owner. There has been no progress. Staff's requesting a fine of $250 a day with a cap of 15.
How much per day?
250.
250.
This has been going on for, it was cited in March, right?
Yes.
Okay. And no contact.
Correct.
Any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum $15,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Roby, a second from Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0. Case number 16. CEB 10-21-307, Robert Benjamin Rowley.
We have been in contact with the property owner, and they also have an engineer that's involved. There's been some complications with the engineer. He has to provide some additional drawings to the building department. We'd like to amend this to the next to the August cutoff to get that work done.
Next
August.
August cutoff?
Till when?
August.
I'm sorry?
Next cutoff's not August, it's not, next cutoff July.
No, but I'm asking to recommend to amend to the August
Okay.
cutoff.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Just want to make, that shed's the one in the back, right?
Well,
Right
what,
there.
yeah, what it is it was they enclosed the garage
Yeah.
and, without a permit, and they thought they'd be able to get a permit a little easier than that. They've now had to get an engineer who is involved, and he says it'll take him, 4 to 6 weeks to get, what he needs to put together done. So
Okay.
hopefully by August, we'll be in compliance.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until August 3rd to come into compliance or be returned to the board for a meeting for consideration of up to a subsequent meeting to be considered for a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries 6-0. Case number 17, CEB 05-22-102, Delphine Downey Estate. Okay.
Since last hearing, we've had no contact, and there's been no progress. It appears the property is vacant and unoccupied. We had to post our notices. Staff's requesting a fine of $100 a day with a cap of 15.
Now, I did read that there was, the police were involved in something on this property? Is that right? Did I read that right? I wasn't here, so I didn't hear, ooh.
The only, I know that we walked through the house and checked it, because it was unoccupied and opened. I'm not sure if there's something else that I'm just not recalling, but
Okay.
my involvement was when we discovered this issue, it was it's very concerning, its location and
It is
its
very
condition.
concerning, and I'm thinking $100 a day isn't enough to my mind.
Right.
It's not like cutting the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pool is secure, I guess, in the backyard?
Yes, it is secured with a fence, but it has not been drained.
Yeah,
It's a spa, it's not a pool.
And the board coordinator just clarified that the reference to police in the past was the initiation of the case based on my observation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, would somebody like to make a motion that,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that we, in this case, find them, impose a fine of $200 a day, with a cap of 15, to start today until they come into compliance.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Gonzalez. Do we have a second?
Second.
Was that a second from Mr. Reinhardt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries 6-0.
So, Madam Chair, that was $200 a day?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Case number 18, CEB 05-23-106, James Becker and Nisi Becker.
Yes, since last hearing, the
But they're here, let them come up. You want to come up, sir? Good morning. State your name and address for the record.
James Becker, 299 Boston Avenue, Daytona Beach.
Okay.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we will hear from Mr. Jones first because Mr. Yates is not here today. Mr. Jones has taken over the case. Go ahead.
Yes, since last hearing, Inspector Yates has had numerous contact with the owner. There's been major progress been made. There's just still a little outside storage that needs to be taken care of. The owner's aware of it. We'd like to recommend to the next cutoff, amend to the next cutoff.
Okay, do you think you can get it clean, get everything finished by then, sir?
I will.
Good.
When would the next cutoff be?
The next cutoff is July 6th.
July 6th?
Yeah, the meeting would be on the 14th,
Oh, okay.
but the cutoff date, you know, you would have your, when you get all that done, you make sure you talk to Mr. Jones too, okay? So he can come out and,
No, Mr. Yates and I
Or-
talked about it. and he
yeah,
was willing
okay.
to-
Yeah, or-
Mr. Yates will be back. and
Mr. Yates will
He
be
has a good
back.
relationship with the
Okay,
property
good.
owner.
Okay, terrific. All right, so Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 7/6 to come into compliance and return to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just make sure you stay in touch with whoever your inspector is. It's going to be Mr. Yates. Okay. Case number 19, CB 04-22-85, Andrew Honer. Mr. Honer here? No? Okay. Ms. Kirk, good morning.
Morning. Since the last hearing, I have had no contact with the owner. There has been no progress. So staff is requesting sorry, I'm trying to find it, a $100 a day fine to a max of $10,000.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continued until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So,
Motion, Mr. Gonzalez,
Second.
second, Mr. Reinhardt?
Yes.
Yes?
yes.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay. Case number 21, CEB 09-21-268, Ernestine Johnson.
Since the last hearing, I have had no contact with the owner. There hasn't been any progress. There is a notice of condemnation and demolition order that was issued on May 10th with 20 days for the owner to respond
And they didn't,
and 3 days to secure the property, and it's been past the 20 days.
and nothing's happened,
That's correct.
okay?
So,
And I'm gonna, I mean, no one's living there, is that correct?
right, it was a fire. She was actually on the city's waiting list for a new roof, and there was a fire, and it's a total loss. And she was elderly in a wheelchair. I don't know if you remember her in
I
here.
do.
Okay, yeah, and she, she survived. She got out at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
So,
So I haven't been able to get in contact with her. I've tried
you don't know
her.
where she's, because you don't know where she's living now, and she hasn't given you a forwarding address, or,
Right, she's been displaced, and I've tried to get a hold of her caseworker, and I haven't been able to contact with her. I do know the city is going to demolish the property.
and do you know when that's gonna happen?
I don't know an exact date. I do know it's in the works. There is no demo permit issued at the moment.
No permit yet?
Not at the moment. So with that, I'd like to ask to amend to the, next would be August for compliance,
Okay.
August cutoff.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until August 3rd to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
I'll move.
Motion, Ms. Roby, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 22, CEB 21-223, Tracy Smith. By Zoom? Yes? No?
Last time she was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, but so she's not here now at all? Okay.
Since the last hearing, I have had contact with Ms. Smith, and I've also had contact with the city's Bill Orrender, and he is in the city's housing assistance program. And there was an error when I asked last month for an update on what lists from the city waiting list she is on. I was told only the roof and HVAC. Well, as it turns out, she had her maiden name, Miss Smith, and then she also had her married name, Mrs. Evans. So she was actually on another list under her married name, Mrs. Evans. So she's actually on the list for plumbing, HVAC, doors, windows, siding repairs, etc.
Wow, okay.
So with that, I'd like to ask to amend to the September cutoff.
Any questions from the board? I had a note here that I wrote down. Captain Lee, were you involved in this? Was there police involvement?
No, I think that what you're probably referencing, that we were going to follow back up with the other department to try to
Yeah.
clarify
Okay.
why she believed she was on the list for other
Okay,
things.
all right, we got that clarified. Okay, all right. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 8/31/2022 to come into compliance and be returned to meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries 6-0. Okay. Case number 23, CEB 02-22-65. Kirk Murphy and Don Roberts. Okay. Ms. Kirk?
Okay. Mr. Murphy's here.
Oh, okay. Come on up, Mr. Murphy. Good morning.
Good morning.
You state your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
Kirk Murphy, 310 Kingston Avenue.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, so you don't reside at that property?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right, Ms. Kirk, what can you tell us?
Okay. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mr. Murphy as well as Mr. Roberts. I spoke with the city's housing coordinator, Bill Orrender, the housing program delivery specialist, and he is on the roofing and rehab waiting list, and he's been on it since November 30th of 2021. Staff is requesting to amend to the September cutoff for compliance.
Okay, does anyone live there, Mr. Murphy?
No.
No? Vacant property?
Yes.
Okay. And are you the person that has had some medical difficulties?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, any questions from the board? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 8/31 to come into compliance or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Himes and a second from Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Is that okay with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I need to step out for a minute.
All right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. You got till September. We'll hear you, we'll have you back here in September. And just a note, Mr. Gonzalez has just stepped out. All right, we're going to continue since we still have a quorum. Case number 24, CEB 05-22-96, BMS Holdings.
Okay.
Anybody hear from that? No?
Okay,
Last time the maintenance man showed?
Right, yep.
Okay.
Since the last hearing, I've had no contact, and there has been no progress, at least from the exterior. I've never been able to do a reinspection of the interior. No contact. Staff is requesting a $200 a day fine to a max of $15,000.
Is anybody living there? There was
Yes.
a tenant complaint, right?
Yeah, actually two. A tenant in January, and then she left because she couldn't stand to live there, and then a new tenant entered in March. And same scenario.
Didn't the second tenant in March go and do a walkthrough?
I think what it is, from what both of the tenants have explained to me, is that the pictures online show a different property, and then they give the money, and then they go there, and it's not what they expected, and then they can't get money back. That's at least what I've heard from both
Heard of
tenants.
that happening,
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
The maintenance man was also talking about going right out there after the last hearing. No
Mhm.
action.
Yep, that's right.
Is 200, my question is 200 enough?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Okay. What would somebody like to make a motion to impose a fine of what then?
Well, it's being held by a company. It's not even a person renting, so I'll do 500 a day.
Exactly. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to impose a fine of $500 a day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. We have a motion. Do we have and
Second, yes,
Second,
ma'am.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion passes 5-0. Case number 25, CEB 05-22-98, Steve and Teresa Broyles. Hello.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. State your name and address for the record.
Teresa Broyles, 1112 Wheeler Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida.
And you could pull that microphone down if it makes it a little easier for you. There you go.
That's so much easier.
There you go. Okay.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth? I'm sorry. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from Ms. Kirk, and then we'll see what her recommendation is, and then we'll let you speak to that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Since the last hearing, there has been progress. The fascia has been, trim has been painted, and the address numbers are up. The only thing left is the permitting for the shed. I've spoken with Ms. Broyles multiple times, and she's working on it. So staff is requesting to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
Okay, you understand that you need to go down to permits and get that done, right?
I did go down to permits, and I don't fit any of the scenarios for a variance.
Okay.
So our only choice is going to be to actually sell it.
Okay.
So,
You working on that?
we have to put the balls in motion first.
Okay, but she's willing to give you more time to do that.
Yes.
Okay. Can I see a picture of the shed again?
You can see it on the side of the house right there.
Oh,
It's a pretty shady area, a lot of nice
Okay.
trees.
All right, I'm sorry, I couldn't see it. Okay.
Could you,
How big is the shed?
I was gonna say, could they maybe get a,
It's a 10 by 12.
Oh, okay. It's not any. Okay.
Or is it?
Hearing that because of this, it's going to cause them to move?
I'm sorry.
Shed, get rid of the
What?
shed.
Oh, okay, get rid of
Because there's no zoning, I guess, that allows them to.
We were told originally that we had to have it behind the fence line. And that is what we did, but according to permits, that's not even close to what we need. And we have, it's anchored, hurricane anchored into the ground. It can't just be
Lifted up.
lifted and moved very easily. I would have to have a professional come in and unearth it. My husband and I do not have that kind of funds.
How long's the shed been there?
Since 2016.
And were you the owner of the property?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't get a permit then?
No, we called the city and asked, and we spoke to someone who told us that we could have it as long as we placed it behind the fence line. Unfortunately, I did not get any documentation at the time.
Legal question. Wouldn't they request for a rezoning of the shed?
Maybe rezoning, would it be a variance?
A variance.
Variance.
Yeah, they have.
Variance.
I think she checked on variance as an option. That's something she'd have to check through zoning and through planning and zoning as well as through permits, which I think she says we.
I spoke to somebody, and the scenarios that
Where it's located is not acceptable zoning.
exactly.
And, well, isn't that why you get a variance?
Yeah,
What's the grandfather time?
that's what a variance is, to get a change.
We don't want to tell her what to do, but.
No, I'm not telling you what to do.
Well, quite honestly, $300 is a paycheck for me. I cannot afford to even apply for that variance.
I got another question for the city, which, because the city does demolishing of houses that need to be demolished. Would that also go towards sheds?
I don't think the city would demolish it, would they?
And I think it's not damaged, right?
No, there's
a good
nothing
shed.
wrong with it.
Well, I don't know that. I'm asking Captain Lee. I mean, is that,
Our understanding is that the structure is not in a condition that would qualify for demolition.
Okay.
I mean, in those cases, yes, the person can do a voluntary demolition. But ultimately, those costs that the city expends for that then are
Go
just,
to-
they're to be paid by the owner. So
And it couldn't be grandfathered in?
that's not how, that
No,
doesn't
all
apply
right.
to this scenario. It's not
it's beyond, I'm sorry that this is really beyond our purview, what we can do for you. We have to follow the law that is. Is your husband handicapped?
Yeah. He's disabled and blind, partially blind.
You can give him more time, that's something you can do.
I think that all we can do is give you more time.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation?
I'm next cutoff. Next cutoff.
I'd be willing to go longer than that.
Unless
Me
you,
too.
what do you think?
Isn't there some kind of disabilities act?
I don't know.
August,
motion.
I think.
Let's get a motion. It's not our,
Okay.
there's not, we can't give her advice
Give her
and,
variance.
I'm not advising. I'm
I know,
asking
I
those
know,
questions.
I know.
Motion for September.
Okay, Ms. Himes has made a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 8/31 to come into compliance or be returned to the board for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day.
Thank you.
So, a second to that?
Second, yeah.
All right, second, Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. All right, motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's very much appreciated.
Okay, we can't give you advice. We have to rule based on the law as well as you having to follow. I don't know whether there's help out there for you or not.
I honestly think the easiest thing at this point is to sell it and have somebody professional take it out of there.
All right, well, you've got a couple months to get
And
the
I
ball
appreciate that
rolling.
very
Okay.
much.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Case number 26, CEB 05-22-115, John Carter. Mr. Carter here? Up. That says Zoom on it. Hello?
Pull over.
Is that Mary Harris?
She driving.
Can't hear her.
Yeah, you better pull over.
Ma'am, we're not
Can't
hearing
hear
your.
you.
Okay, let me see what I'm doing wrong.
Well,
Nope, now we got it.
You got it?
Yeah, she's driving.
If she's driving, we should not
Okay,
proceed.
I'm just getting,
Okay,
okay, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, and are you stopped driving?
I can't hear you. What I'm doing wrong.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yes, now.
Oh, now, okay, all right, so, okay, now I think we're okay. All right, so you need to state your name and address for the record and be sworn in. No, that's her camera, just.
Okay. Mary Harris, 324 South Franklin Street, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
we're
your
going
connection.
to hear from Ms. Kirk, and then we'll hear from you.
I'm sorry.
You can just confirm from her
Okay.
that she is stationary, she is no longer driving?
Yeah, you're not driving, right?
No, I know pulled over on side of the
Right,
road.
okay,
I'm
it's
getting
just
off
her
the
camera's
bus.
moving. Yeah, okay.
Could we also just get clarification as to her relation to the case?
Okay, and could you state your relationship to Mr. Carter?
That's my fiance.
Okay, all right. And you have his permission to speak for him?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, since the last hearing, there has been a lot of progress. This is a before picture, and then that's what it currently looks as of yesterday. So there's been a lot of progress.
Good.
I have had contact with Ms. Harris. Staff is requesting to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
Okay, do you think you're going to be, it looks like you've done a whole lot there. Thank you. We're glad to see that. We're going to give you until next month again. Will that be enough time to finish it up?
What's left?
I'm trying to find someone to do the bike part, you know, the siding.
Uh-huh.
I talked to one guy, but he want $7,000. So I got 2 more guys that gonna come and look so I can be able to do the bike part of the house.
Okay.
But I don't know if it take a month. I need
Do
some
we
more
wa-
days, months.
Yeah. Do we want to give her an extra month? Okay. All right. Well, the board is going to make a motion to give you an extra month until, that would be 8/31, till the end of August. The meeting would be in September. So let's see what the board, see if the board passes that motion. Ms. Himes has made a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 8/31/22 to come into compliance to be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0. So you've got a little bit of time to get all those things finished up, okay?
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
All right, case number 27, 5 CB 0522-99, Sayer and Finder LLC. Okay, no show.
Okay. Since the last hearing, I've had no contact. There has been no progress. Staff is requesting a $200 a day fine to a max of $15,000.
Is that a busted out window?
Yeah, I think it's just screening hanging over it.
And we're assuming no one lives there?
Right now, they're not supposed to be. It was condemned. There was no people staying there with no utilities, no water.
Is it scheduled for demolition or?
There is an order and a notice of demolition, but there is no demo permit on file yet. But it is in the works.
Well, this is another.
Yeah.
It's like company, so.
Right.
Sometimes these houses, when they're condemned for no utilities, it's more of a temporary condemnation in the sense that they can rectify it by reconnecting those utilities. So it's not necessarily something that will be torn down. It could be, though. I mean,
This one is.
It's got some other
This one actually is. I've spoken to the building department,
Well,
John Cecil.
certainly-
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it has utilities or, I mean, it'd probably be better to have utilities than not, that's for sure, but there looks to be an awful lot else that needs to be done. I can't even see the roof on this, so.
What was your recommendation, Sarah? How much?
200 to 15.
I'd like to up it to like 400.
Let's get a motion.
All right, we need a motion.
She said it's a motion.
Okay, Chair will entertain that Ms. Roby's made a motion to impose a fine of $400 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second, Mr. Reinhardt, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. All right, now we're going to move on to our new cases. And when we do our new cases, they should go pretty smoothly. You're either in compliance or you're not in compliance. We don't issue fines unless it's a will fine, but we don't issue fines today in these cases. We simply look at the pictures and listen to the recommendation from the city to see what needs to be fixed to come into compliance. So that's all there is. That's all there is to today. So anybody that's waiting, we'll look at the pictures too, and we'll decide unless you have something to add to it. We can pretty much look at the pictures and we listen to the expertise of the code enforcement officers to let us know what code issues there are. So let's start with case number 28, CEB 06-22-131, Adam Kuvecki.
This case was opened back in November of 2021, and it was field generated. A notice of violation was issued for a dilapidated exterior wall. First notice was November 15th, 2021. Compliance was due on 12/15/2021. Our last inspection was on April 21st, 2022. The inspector has had numerous contacts with the owner. He now has a permit to repair the siding, the exterior wall there, and we're recommending non-compliance with compliance next cutoff.
Okay.
As you can see on that photo, they've already started doing
Yeah.
the repairs.
Good. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and a respondent to come into compliance by 7/6 next month?
Next cutoff, yes,
Okay,
please.
next cutoff date, which is 7/6/22, will be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion?
Second.
All right, motion, Ms. Himes, second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 29, CEB 06-22-134, Earlene F. Canfield dash Seals Cook, is that one name? Huh? Yes, that's all one name, okay. Respondent present? Okay.
This case was opened on October 15th, 2021. It was field generated for outside storage, trash, debris, and a junk vehicle. They did receive their first notice on October 21st, 2021. Compliance was due November 20th, 2021. We've had contact with the owner, but the issues still remain. We're recommending a finding of noncompliance with compliance next cutoff.
Okay, any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Weren't they already found in noncompliance?
No.
No, we're asking for them to be found in
Right.
noncompliance.
No, they haven't been yet.
This is a new case.
This is a new case.
But I thought I heard that the case started out October of 21.
Yes, the case opened on October 15th, 2021.
Right.
It was a field-generated case.
Right.
The inspector sent out his notice of violation, and it was signed for on October 21st, 2021. They were to be into compliance on November 20th, per the notice of violation
Of 21.
of 2021.
So they were noticed, they're still not in compliance.
Correct. As of our last inspection on April 22nd, they are still not in noncompliance.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 7/6/2022, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gonzalez, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Reinhardt, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 30, CEB 06-22-139, Amy Bird, Brian Bird. Okay, anybody here? Okay. Mr. Jones?
Yes, this case was opened on October 11th, 2021. It was a field-generated case. It was opened for a dilapidated fence. Compliance was due by November 15th, 2021. As of our last inspection, nothing has been completed yet. There's been no application for a permit or the fence to be repaired. We have had contact with the owner, but the issues still remain. Staff is recommending a finding of noncompliance with compliance next cutoff.
Any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 7/6/2022, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Roby, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. All right. Case number 31, CEB 06-22-125, Brett and Jennifer Crawley. There you are. I bet you're saying finally.
Well, I apologize, I misunderstood.
That's
earlier.
okay. That's all right. We're past that.
I
That's
thought
all
you
good.
were not gonna.
All good. All right, you want to, are you both going to testify?
We were told to be here.
Both our names are on there. We don't know what we're doing.
You're welcome to. Are you Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome to testify, but if you testify, if you want to say something, you just have to be sworn in. That's all. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in. Okay, or one of you. Go ahead. All right, name and address for the record, please.
Brett Crawley, 3021 North Oleander Avenue.
Okay.
Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, first we'll hear from Mr. Jones and see what he recommends, and then if you need to say something, you can, okay? Because we're just here today to see whether whether you're in compliance with the codes or you're not in compliance, okay? That's it. That's all we're doing today.
Yes, this case was opened by Inspector Yates on October 22nd, 2021. It was a citizen's complaint. He issued a notice of violation on 10/26 for no permit for the deck and the rear structure. A notice was sent, a green card was signed for on November 2nd, 2021, and the compliance on the notice of violation was 12/2/2021. Inspector Yates's last inspection was on April 20th, 2022. He states that he has had contact with the owner, but the issues still remain, and at this point, there's been no permits applied for.
Okay, you understand that you need a permit to do this kind of work?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me ask you what you're doing about that.
I applied for permits, ma'am, or board, and I applied for permits, and then I met with the city on December 23rd.
Okay.
And on December 23rd, we went through all codes, and we found that the things I was doing was within code,
Okay.
and that they felt I should have my permits within 2 or 3 weeks. At that point, I asked if I needed, and there's all documented.
Okay.
I asked if I needed to do a survey. I had offered that before, and they said, no, that's not necessary. They then, so when the 2 or 3 weeks went by, I got a note saying they would like to see an actual up-to-date survey on everything. It had been determined that, and again, it's in the meeting notes, it had been determined that I was in compliance because originally this started in June of 2020 when we bought the home. And that was at the beginning of COVID. And I had asked over the phone about repairs to my property and the fact that I was ADA and what could I do. And I said I also had some future things I wanted to do. And they said, well, you need to do a permit for anything future, but what kind of repairs are you asking for? And I explained that at the time. And we also went through the swim spa I have from an ADA and medical report. And they said, yes, we understand, and that's fine. And so at the end of the meeting, they had determined on December 23rd that it appeared I was in compliance, but they wanted to check everything, and I should have permits, just to bring back to where I said earlier, up to date. I said I would comply with that, had no problem. And fast forward, it's going to take 3 months to get an architect because they're behind. That's also documented. The city said they understood. And so that was finished in April, which brings us to May 3rd. On May 3rd, they sent me something about something new that had never been addressed because I've never been found out of compliance so far. And I've asked what I need to do. So anyway, I requested another face-to-face because it appears that they are asking me the same questions that they asked on December 23rd and found me to be in compliance on. So I asked on December 3rd if we could meet on, May 3rd. So then on, I believe it's the 17th, I received the notice to be here. Yes, May 17th, I received the notice to be here. At that time, I was in bed. About a week went by. When I got this, I called Mr. Yates, and he said my case had been stopped. I had been denied my permits. And I said, well, that's news to me. And I said, but I've been asked to court. May I know what I've been asked to court for? He said, you're not in compliance. And I said, from all the documentation I have from the city, I am in compliance, and they were waiting for this big plot plan. Since they received the plot plan, that brings us to May 3rd. I said, I'm here and waiting for a meeting with them. Okay. I called Mr. Yates. That was 10 days ago. He also received the email about today's meeting 10 days ago. And I have not heard back from him or the city. And that's why I'm not in Texas today filming with The Chosen.
Okay.
So, sorry for the bottom.
That's okay, but
I'm not out of compliance with anything that I've been told. And I don't know what to correct.
Well, what we have here, what it says that the violation is no permit, you don't have a permit for the deck or the rear structure.
Right. They were.
So that puts you out of compliance.
Except, may I address that? What I was told to do by Mr. Yates, it's in writing right here. I was told at the time he felt I was out of compliance, but I needed to get with the city. The city says I'm not out of compliance. Okay. That's where the confusion in lies.
I don't know whether it's lies. I think it does seem like there's confusion. And I think that you.
Well, that's what I mean. That's where the confusion in lies.
Oh, okay. I think that.
So I don't know what to correct.
Okay, I think that we need to.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir?
Yes.
Do you have a permit or don't you?
No.
Okay, thank you.
It's in the process of getting.
Well, you don't have it. Thank you.
That's all we're here today to do.
I was told we wouldn't be here until the case was closed.
No,
the
no, no.
city says it's still open.
Right. Mr. Jones, can you address this a little bit for us?
Yes, speaking with Mr. Inspector Yates in regards to this project is really, as far as code is it's fairly simple. We just need him to have a permit for the work and get it finalized.
Right.
And it would be in compliance.
Right.
At this point, there is no active permit issued,
Okay.
so he's in non-compliance. And that's all we're looking for today is just a finding of non-compliance.
So what is your recommendation next?
Well, non-compliance with compliance next cutoff. Hopefully that the permit will be issued by then, and then we can deal with it at that time.
Okay. So
There's something I've left out because I didn't know I needed to. Back to COVID, I was told I didn't need a permit to do repairs.
Well,
I was told during COVID that I didn't need
we're not talking about repairs. All we're talking about is you need a permit for the deck and the rear structure. We're not talking about repairs.
No, I had.
And all we're doing today.
The deck was there, ma'am. All I did was repair it.
Oh.
That's what the city is reviewing is Mr. Yates has not been out to the home since this first started. I don't know when he says he confirmed, but the documentation from the city says I am currently in compliance. My deck is an ADA issue, Americans with Disability.
Yeah, okay.
And so they are pending the permit approval. Because it was seen as a repair, they said if in the future a complaint is filed, I'll have to come in and apply for permit. So the application has been made, the permit has not been issued, but it's pending my understanding of what I need to change. No one's told me where I'm out of other than the permit, which I was told I didn't need until it was needed.
So
That's why I don't understand.
If I can
Go
provide
ahead.
some additional
Let's
information.
hear from Captain Lee, and then we'll finish this up. Go ahead.
Okay, so the notes provided back to the customer on May 3rd of this year from the Permits and Licensing Department, this is from Missy Phillips, states that survey provided shows a wooden structure and a concrete pad within the rear 5-foot utility easement. And then it lists the statute, or I'm sorry, the ordinance that's in violation, which is the easements, nothing except for ground cover shall be planted or installed within the underground or overhead utility, drainage or gas easements, or within 3 feet of a fire protection system without the consent of the utility provider, easement holder, or the city as appropriate. It further lists that the location of the accessory structure, no accessory use or structure shall be located within any plat or recorded easement or over any known utility. And then it says, the notes back are, what is the wooden structure? Does it have a roof? What is the height of the wooden structure? It says the 16.4 to 16.2 wooden structure is 265.68 square feet. This size accessory structure will require a 25-foot, will be required to be 25 feet from the rear property line and 10 feet from the side property line and 5 feet from the primary structure. And then it lists the LDC that references that.
Okay.
The survey provided shows that the structure does not meet these setbacks. Please provide
That's the
height,
right picture, by the way.
Please provide height, dimensions, and setbacks for future deck shown on survey. And then it says, per the Land Development Code, 11.4B4, 5, undercover porches, stoops, decks, patios, terraces, or walkways may extend into or be located in a required rear yard if setback from the property, from the lot line, by the distance no less than the deck's height, extended into or be located into the rear side yard, or side street, interior side, or front yard by less than 12 inches high, and set back from the lot line any distance no less than the deck's height.
Okay.
May I address that?
Now, I think at this point,
And these are the documentation, this is the
this
document.
is documentation from Permits and Licenses.
Right, and this is,
correct?
that is copy and paste of what was sent to
We're
him.
going to give you, we're going to, I think, I don't know what the board's going to vote on, but we're not going to argue this right now because you need to come into compliance. Obviously, you need permits. So you need to get back down to Permits and Licensing and work this out with them. We
Yes.
can't.
That's
okay?
what I asked
And
for.
we're giving you time to do that.
I appreciate that.
Till next month, time to,
I don't have any problem with that, ma'am.
Okay.
My problem has been, I've not been told I'm out of compliance. I have documentation from the
I'm
city.
sorry, but you have been told you're out of compliance on this particular issue. You've been issued,
They're addressing an issue that was addressed
That,
on
you
December
have
23rd.
Madam
Vacation.
Chair, I'm ready to make a motion.
all right.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
And my motion is that in this case, we find them in non-compliance and have them to come back to our next meeting to get an update as to the status.
So you, are you
Back to the next
recommending the
cutoff.
next cutoff date?
Yes, ma'am. Next cutoff date to review.
Or are you asking for, well, first we have to find him in non-compliance.
Right, I said
And
that.
then, when he comes back, if we find him in non-compliance, when he comes back, we can decide what to do after that, whether it's progress report, whether it's whatever it is,
Okay.
whether it's a fine, whether it's
All
whatever.
right, so let me clarify my motion.
Okay, please.
So my motion is that we find them in non-compliance and to be reviewed at our next,
Okay. Or to come into compliance by the next cutoff.
come into compliance, and we'll review it at that time.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to find respondent in noncompliance, order him to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. The motion was made by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0. So you just
I understand.
done what you need to do, please.
Oh, I have. It's all documented.
You're not in compliance. You have to come into compliance, and you have to come into compliance by getting a permit.
Yes, and the city currently says it's in review.
Well, whatever, then you need to, look, we need proof of that. And we don't have proof of that.
They just told me yesterday, it's in the system, if we look it up.
Chair, if we could just clarify for him, compliance is when the inspector signs an affidavit
Right.
of compliance. So it would be.
But he's already told the court he,
Hold on. It'll be ultimately when, whatever happens in permits and licensing, when they get back with the inspector will do an affidavit saying it's in compliance. Until that affidavit is issued, it remains in non-compliance. So you need to be following up with the inspector. He'll need to know what's happening in this progress, whether he's a part of it or not. And I know you said you have.
he's been copied on everything.
Yeah, so just keep that process going
Right.
and get that resolved.
Right.
And if for some reason there's some communication that he's unaware of because it's a phone call or maybe an email he didn't get copied on, just please forward it to him or let him know so that he can update the case on this side so that we're trying to stay in step with what you're doing with the other department as well.
Who's he supposed to?
His inspector?
Oh,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
keep his inspector in the loop
Yeah.
of anything he
Okay.
doesn't seem on.
All right.
Madam Chair,
All right, did we vote yet? All in favor? Yeah. I thought we did. Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0. We voted twice. Okay.
Madam Chair, the staff is requesting a 5-minute break, and it is about 11, well, it's 11:01 now.
All right, a 5-minute break, and then we'll start with case number 30. Let's finish this page, and then we'll get a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Case 33, CEB 0622-127, Shannon Shore. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name for the record.
My name is Shannon Martin, not Shannon Shore, legally.
Why is there confusion?
The house is financially, the house was in my name, my maiden name Shore, and my married name is Martin.
Okay, fine.
My driver's license say Martin, so I just know if
Okay.
I have to pull anything or do
All right,
anything
please
to be
be
right.
sworn in.
Please raise your
Oh,
right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jones, we're going to let Mr. Jones talk, and truly, it's not going to go like the last case.
No,
Okay.
I don't have all that.
Okay, good.
I have a little bit, but not all that.
Yes, this case was opened on 12/21. It was a field-generated case. The notice was sent for an unpermitted fence, dilapidated wall, peeling paint, address numbers that don't contrast with, and address numbers that don't do not contrast
Right.
with the background.
Okay.
First notice was received on December 24th. We've had, Inspector Yates has had contact with the owner, but the issues still remain. We're recommending a non-compliance with compliance next cutoff.
Can I ask a question about communication with Kevin Yates? Does he document his?
Typically, he typically does. I do not have it in front of me. He does state that he has had conversations with you. He stated that you, or has had he says he has had conversations with the owner, that they're having some financial issues. But as of today, they haven't even corrected the address numbers.
Yes, the address number. So when I bought the house, it was bought as it was like an Airbnb when I bought the house. So they changed all those laws on Beachside, and that's how I ended up coming into the house. I didn't know that I honestly didn't even know that the house numbers are the same numbers of the house because the gentleman who owned it before me just painted everything the same color.
Right, you just painted over the numbers.
The numbers are there. They're just the same color
well,
as
they
the
just
house.
need to be fixed.
Yeah, and I bought the numbers.
Okay.
I was divorced in October. My husband was a construction worker / master plumber.
Mm-hmm.
He got all the tools in the divorce. So I don't even have a drill. But I did buy the numbers. I'm going to buy a drill next. I don't have any communication with Officer Yates. Not only does he not return my phone calls, the email that I sent to him on January 21st, he never replied to it. I was planning on that day to fix the numbers, which I had purchased. I sent him an email letting him know that I was rushed to the hospital from my job with a ruptured appendix, turned cespis, 4 blood transfusions, and then COVID all at that same time. So yes, financials are an
Okay,
issue.
all right. But we see that there's work to do here.
There is, so.
And that's all we're here today.
Okay, so there's been some progress since these pictures have been
Okay,
taken.
and there's been some progress, that's good.
That wall is going to cost a lot of money that
Yeah,
I do
okay.
not
Well,
have.
right now, our only job is to determine whether the structure is in compliance or it's not in
Right.
compliance. And we can see from the pictures that it's not in compliance, and that's all we're here.
Yeah, so I asked him in that email, what can I do or what help or services, and I never got a response in January.
Okay,
Since
all
then,
right,
had
so
health
we need-
issues,
Okay,
so.
all right, we,
Motion that we accept the city's proposal for the next cutoff.
all right.
I also have surgery scheduled for full
Well,
hysterectomy.
that's
July.
right, but keep in touch with Mr. Ye. I know you say that you can't, you can call Mr. Jones.
Okay, I've emailed him with no response and have
Okay,
that.
all right, fine, okay.
But I know the next cutoff I heard was in July. I have a hysterectomy, July 27th.
That's fine.
I second the motion.
All right, a motion has been made to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is 7/6, considering that she's saying that she has surgery, then she won't even be here.
I have it July 27th. so
all right.
I
Well, 7/6
could come.
she'll be here.
I
Okay.
could come to that
Yeah,
date,
good.
but
Okay.
I probably
All
won't
right,
have a
that's
lot
fine.
done.
Come in compliance by the next cutoff date of 7/6 will be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. A motion was made by Ms. Himes, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0.
Can I not get longer time than that since I'm going to go directly into surgery?
All we've done is found you in noncompliance.
Okay.
When you come back here, you can explain more what you've done and what's been accomplished, and your code officer will tell us what's been done and what he's seen. Stay in touch with him, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, if I may, Ms. Martin, you
Yes.
mentioned with the name Shore, that probably came from the tax rolls.
It probably
If you
did.
wanted to change, you can change it.
I know.
Just
I'm
wanted to
changing.
make you
I've
aware.
been divorced since then, so we're trying to go backwards. But going to the DMV and get your name changed is not something that's easily done either.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Fine.
We're going to take a 5-minute break,
I have.
and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Meeting will now come back to order. Case number 34, CEB 06-22-136. Stylianis Tsoukalos. Okay. Why is this red button?
That's the eject.
Oh.
Wow. Gotta bring some humor in.
I'm sorry. We had a little technical problem up here. All right, case number 34. Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm To tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from Mr. Jones, and then we'll give you a chance to speak if you need to. Let us know where you are. Go ahead.
Yes, Inspector Yates opened this case back in December of 2021. It was a field-generated case. A notice of violation was issued for dilapidated roof, dirt, and grime. First notice was December 18th, 2021, with compliance being due January 1st, 2022. Inspector Yates has had contact with the owner. Half the roof has been replaced, but to date, there's been no permit pulled for the work that was done. We're asking for non-compliance with compliance next cutoff.
Okay, we can see that the roof's not finished, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's all we're here to do today, is you're not, and you need a permit evidently. That's not on here, but.
Since when has that been to do for,
I
I own
don't
that
know. You'll
house?
have to ask, that would be a question for Mr. Jones. It's not something, what we see is there's still roof
Right.
work that needs to be done.
Totally.
Okay. So the Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 7/6/2022, or be returned to the board for consideration or a fine of up to $1,000
Excuse
a
me.
day.
I'd like to go for a little bit longer than that because you're asking me to pull a permit.
We're just seeing today whether you're in compliance or not in compliance.
Well, I
That's all.
understand
You're not
that.
in compliance.
I
When
want to
you come
be
back, we can-
finished when I come
Well,
back.
uh,
Do you understand?
Well,
I mean,
there-
if I didn't have to pull a permit, it'll be done by
Well, I
July.
know, but that's not up to us.
Right.
We don't make the rules, sir.
I understand that, but I don't control permits.
There's a motion on the floor.
Then there is a motion on the floor. Just move along and do what you need to do, and when you come back the next time, if this passes, when you come back the next time, we'll decide what to do at that point. There's nothing automatic about our response to your case.
Okay.
The next time. Okay, a motion from Ms. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. So find out exactly what you need to do for Mr. Jones, and then come back and tell us what you've done, okay?
All right.
Case number 35, CEB 0622-142, Dewey Cooper and Debbie Cooper. And that, boy, for Mr. Jones. Do we have pictures? Or I guess we don't wait. Okay,
Excuse me.
that's okay. Mr. Jones.
Yes, this case opened in January of 2022. It was a citizen's complaint for unpermitted work. There was a fence, a driveway, and a remodel in progress. First notice was received on February 25th, 2022. The property was posted. No permit has been issued for the unpermitted work. Staff's requesting a finding of noncompliance with compliance next cutoff.
Chair will entertain a motion. Any questions?
Any pictures?
Do we have pictures?
No, okay.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, July 6th, or return to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Roby, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 36, Mr. Stenson. CEB 06-22-137, Mathis BP. What does that mean? Is that BP is the first name?
No.
Okay. And Emma Morris. Oh, there, maybe you'll be able to straighten me out. State your name and address for the record, please.
Mathis Bernard, Appreciate Morris Jr.
So you are basically Mathis Morris.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you raise your right hand, please, to be sworn in? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll hear from Mr. Stenson. Okay.
John Stenson, Code Inspector with the City. My qualifications are on file. This was a field-generated case. He was cited for outside storage, damaged fencing, and junk vehicle. The owner was first notified on 4 June of ·21. I've had one phone call from the property owner. Compliance was due on 2 July of '21 with multiple re-inspections of the property, last one being yesterday. And property remains in non-compliance. We're asking for compliance by the next cutoff.
Okay. Let's see, so you're being cited for has anything happened? Has there been any progress? Outside storage, has that been cleaned up?
Yes.
Have you told Mr. Stenson that? Have you had him come out and?
When I talked to him, I called and left him a message because he was talking about the outside fencing, which was back of June of last year, and that had got fixed and everything, and the problem was about my trucks. Yes, and the problem was with my trucks and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I sold my trucks, everything. I haven't heard nothing since then about anything.
All right, so what you
And-
need to do, if you've got everything in compliance, I mean, Mr. Stenson hasn't been out there to know that because you haven't called him to come out there. Is that right, Mr. Stenson?
My last inspection of the property was yesterday.
Yeah, and what was still needed to be done?
There's more than one type of fencing on the property. He's got the white picket fence in
Right.
front, and he's got the privacy
Yeah.
fence in the rear.
Yeah.
Privacy fences has been corrected.
Okay.
The white picket fence still needs some work.
Okay.
There was still a junk vehicle on the property as of yesterday as well.
Okay. All right.
Yes, I told him
Still
about.
some things to do.
Yes, I told him about the vehicle. I told him the vehicle still run. It just had been sitting because somebody hit the car and knocked it in the yard. So I went out there, I pumped the tires up, moved the car, everything around.
Okay, well,
yesterday.
maybe get him to come back, and then you won't have to show up. I'll put you in compliance if you get that, whatever is.
Yes,
matter.
because
What's
then.
the matter with the fence? Mr.
And that's what I was trying to tell him about the white picket fence, because he's saying his board's missing, but I said where? Because clearly you can see I don't see no boards missing on none of these pictures.
There's a section on the, I guess, the right side of the house as you're facing it, that the white picket fence needs some repair. The white picket fence. It's right in between the two houses.
Oh, in between. Okay, get him to show you that.
Yes, because
I'm having a hard time discerning where that is, too. Over on that side?
Correct. On the right side. No, that picture's really not showing it real well.
Yeah, it's not sure, I don't see it, but, okay. All right, but we'll give you, it doesn't seem like there's much to do, so just get Mr. Sensen over there to either show you exactly what you need to do with the fence or the car or whatever, and get it done, and then he can put you into compliance when he comes back,
yes.
if it's done, and then you won't have to come back next month, but we're going to probably still find you in non-compliance right now, because he hasn't told us that you're in compliance.
Right.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion for my respondent in non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, July 6, 2022, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine up to $1,000 a day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Heim, second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, so hopefully you got 20 to whatever to get him back over there and get into compliance. Just stay in touch.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, case 37, CEB 0622-138, Nicole Marjanowitz. Okay. Mr. Stinson.
Yes, this is a complaint-driven case for a damaged roof and fencing, actually fencing and wall, and there was work on the fence without any permits.
Okay.
Property owner was first notified on 22 April of '22. I've had one call, and she actually visited the office on 5/31. She has the survey scheduled, which she will need that in order to deal with the fence.
Okay.
And the roofing contract is pending.
Okay.
So we're asking for non-compliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
Okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent to committed compliance by the next cutoff date, July 6, 2022, or be returned to the board for consideration or fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion. Motion, Ms. Himes, second. Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, so what's your case number?
39.
All right, and what's yours?
41.
39, 41. Anybody else here?
124.
Next one, next one.
Case number is CB 06222.
Oh, so you're the next one. Okay, come on up, sir.
124.
Okay. And is there anybody else? So we have case 38, 39, 41. Anybody else? I can't.
44.
What is it?
44.
44. Okay, we're going to hear all those cases right now. All right, let's go in order here. Case 38. CEB 006222124, Yvonne Pierce. Okay.
State your name for the record. Your name?
Oh, Stephen Pierce, 105 North Paul Revere Drive, Daytona Beach.
And your relation?
What's your relationship to the owner, Yvonne?
This is my mom.
Okay. Okay. She's still alive?
No, she's deceased.
Okay. But you live there?
I live there.
Okay.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from Mr. Stenson and see what's going on with your roof.
Yes, this is a complaint-driven case for damaged roof. Property owners first notified on 28 May 21. I've had verbal contact with the owner on 1 July 21. Compliance was due on 25 June 21. With multiple re-inspections, the property remains in non-compliance. We're asking for compliance by the next cutoff.
That's a year ago, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can see that the roof needs repair from the pictures.
It does need repair. I was surprised to learn just now, just before we went on break, that we're here today to determine whether or not it's in compliance.
Right.
And,
That's all.
right. And looking at 304.7, I think I could make an argument that what's cited in that ruling, in the letter that I received, it is watertight, it is not leaking. There are gutters all around the house, so the drainage is good. Everything that I read, what's wrong with it is the appearance of it is not great. It's aesthetic. Apparently, when shingles get old, they have a glue
Yes, they do.
that holds them down. And we had a windstorm, it lets them flap up and down and they snap off.
That's correct.
So it's not like
It
they're completely gone, but
okay, we
you see
understand that.
dark areas
But
where,
the roof is not in compliance. I don't know that you want to make, I mean, we can see that. We can see that there's shingles missing up there. I see tarp that.
well, that's a shadow from the tree.
Oh,
The big part of that's a shadow from that tree that's there. Over on this side, you should see some.
okay, so there are some. So
There are-
we
yeah,
need to
right.
get those fixed.
Right, there's a few.
Right there, I see them.
There's a
I got 'em,
few.
I got 'em.
And I called right away, and I had contacted Delmar Roofing, and
Who'd you contact?
Delmar
Okay.
Roofing, and they were willing to work with me as far as replacing the broken shingles.
Right.
We called Mr. Stenson
Uh-huh.
and spoke with him regarding that, and we could not get an answer. Yeah, you can see them there on the left side. There's
Yeah, I see them.
spots where they're missing.
Right.
Whether that would be acceptable. it looked like we were gunning for a new roof. And there's nothing I'd like more than a new roof. I went on the waiting list immediately in May of 2021.
Well, the waiting list for where?
Community development. Bill Orender is who I'm dealing with
Okay, we need paperwork. All right, so. all of
directly.
this, in fairness, here today, we're here to see whether you're in compliance or not in compliance. We're not here to argue the case other than to say compliance or not in compliance.
Right.
To me, it doesn't, I don't know how it looks to the others, but I'm just going to tell you, I don't think it looks like it's in compliance. So that's all we're here.
Yeah, well, I intended to stop there. I didn't really plan on.
Okay, all right.
I thought I was going to be defending the whole thing
No,
today.
no.
But
What happened?
all I can say is it's watertight.
Yeah, well,
I did invite him out to the property
Right. Well-
to check it for leaks,
Well, that,
and it's not leaking. So, is it not in compliance because of the appearance?
yes, probably. I can't tell you what. Mr. Stenson, why isn't it in compliance?
Yes, the appearance, and there is shingles missing.
Right, you can't have shingles missing. It
Parts-
weakens the structure.
Parts of shingles missing. Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. All
Okay,
right.
that's
It's
it.
not in.
All right, enough.
But
No.
the community development part of it,
Paperwork, bring that paperwork next time.
that's the problem. He is welcoming a call from anyone regarding confirming that I am on the list. In fact, he called me in April of this year saying that my name had come up because I'm moving up the list, wanted to make sure that I was still on board
Okay.
for a new roof, but he can't give me a date. He can
Well,
only,
he can give you paperwork that you're on a list. Right?
well, he can tell
Or he
Mr.
can tell
Stinson,
Mr. Stinson that
he's
you're
right
on-
down the hall, or he can call him on the phone. He says he welcomes a call.
Okay, all right, we'll go into this next time a little more if, and hopefully you'll get something accomplished. I just told you what would be a good thing probably to bring next time.
Okay, I just gave it a shot, the compliance thing.
Okay, I'm done. All right, Ms. Himes has made a motion to find respondent in non-compliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. That's it.
That's it.
So you're not
Well,
in compliance.
And I'll receive a notice when I
Yes, you
should
will.
come back? Thank you.
All right.
And I'd stay in touch with Mr. Stenson. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, case number 39, CEB 0622-126, James E. and Anna Souders. Good morning.
Good morning, or afternoon, is it still morning? Afternoon.
If you're both going to speak, state your name and address.
I'm Helena Machine, 207 Centennial Lane, Daytona Beach, Florida.
I'm Ron Tice, 203 Centennial Lane. We're just here, we had Mr. and Mrs.
I'm his
Souders
daughter.
here,
I'm their
and they're
daughter.
gone now.
Well, how are you related to them?
I'm her daughter and his daughter, and that's my fiance.
I need you to repeat your names again. Spell it for me, please.
Helena Machine, Machain, and Helena is Helen with an A on the end of it.
Okay.
And your name, sir?
My name's Ronald Tice, Tice.
Are you both gonna be sworn to speak today?
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to hear from Mr. Stenson. We're just here today to see whether these things are in compliance or not in compliance. End of discussion. Okay? Yeah, I obviously was too lenient in too many of the other cases, but that stops here.
I understand.
Okay.
This was also a complaint-driven case for no permits for the windows, closing of an exterior door and unpainted surfaces, and a lack of address numbers. Property owner was first notified on 26 May 21. Returned a call to the property owner on 27 May of 21 and advised the need to get permits, and I told him what he needed to get done. On 5/24/22, I had a conversation with the owner's daughter, who also has power of attorney. She was under the impression they had permits. Unfortunately, the permit she did have was for gutters, and the permit was expired. And as of yesterday, still has been no application or
Okay.
issuance of a permit.
Okay, so there's no permit
Correct.
for new windows. Are there any address numbers?
The address numbers have been added.
Okay. Are there any, it hasn't been painted?
No,
Okay.
there's still some raw
And
wood
what
there.
does closing of door mean?
There was an exterior door, and they closed the door up and blocked it in. You can see
Oh,
it in
you
the
mean
picture right here.
boarded up, kind of?
No, see on the left, there was a door there,
Oh, I see.
and it was
I see.
removed. And
Okay,
just walled
so
up.
you see what the violations are. Do you know how to correct them? If you don't, you need to talk to Mr. Stenson.
The
You
permit,
obviously need a permit.
the permits were filed and the windows were installed. Here's the permit. Now, the permit has expired since that time, but the windows were installed immediately.
All right,
The windows weren't inspected because the stucco work around the windows had to be
Right,
finished. So because of COVID, we've been put off and put off and
Okay.
put off with the stucco. The stucco has been completed as of, I would say, a week ago.
okay.
The painting is all done, and what else do I have to address? The door wasn't a door, it was actually a window.
Okay.
When was your last inspection, Mr. Stenson?
I checked our tracking system yesterday for the permits, and there's been no application and no issuance.
Okay,
The only permit that I have is the one for the gutters, and it's expired.
okay.
I applied for a permit yesterday.
You did.
Good. Because the one I had back in 2019 was for windows and doors and rain spout and soffit.
Okay.
And one of the pictures he has there shows you that the stucco is finished and the front is covered.
Okay, that's good. All right, so you need to have, you need to get the permit.
I got it.
Come into compliance. All we're here today to do is to see, is to
Okay.
say whether, and there's some things you know you have to do to come
Yeah.
into compliance, okay?
I just would like to clarify the difference between it being a window and a door still doesn't preclude you from having to obtain a permit to close it in.
Okay.
So just make sure you follow up on that.
Permit
Okay.
for that too, okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance and respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. The next cutoff date is 7/6. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gonzalez, second. Ms. Himes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Stay in touch with
Okay.
uh,
I should pick up my permits today or
Mr.
tomorrow.
Stenson. All right, then we have, now,
Have a good day.
case 41. You still here? Yes. Okay. And then we'll do your case, sir, 44. Okay, go ahead. State your name and address. for the
I'm
record.
George Sibley, 300 Yorktown Drive, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Stenson.
Okay, this case was opened using our rule of six. I'm sorry, hang on. You got me out of order here.
Okay.
300
Yeah, we are.
Yorktown.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
This is a field-generated case for a damaged roof. First notification was on 6 November 21. Call from the owner on 10 November stating that this property was still, the property owner was in litigation with the insurance company to get the roof repaired. They're still in litigation with the insurance company. They have some hearings and things like that scheduled. I really didn't expect you to be here today after the conversation. However, we're asking for compliance by next cutoff.
Okay. All right, so we realize that you're having issues with the insurance company. and-
Right.
Okay. That today is not what we're deciding on. We're just deciding on
Right.
whether the roof's fixed or it's not fixed. Okay.
Right, I'm just here because I wanted to advise you folks, as I did Mr. Stinson, that our court case isn't until August 29th.
Okay.
So it's a waste of time to, have us come in, because nothing's going to happen before then. And believe me, like everybody else, we're anxious to get it fixed, but we want to get our court
Right.
case
Yeah, I
resolved.
understand that.
And we need a little time to do it after the resolution of that. So I don't know when you're planning on deferring the
Right.
thing until, but I hope it will be after the August date, so that we can report some update.
I think the city would agree to amend to change our request to.
Okay,
to-
8/31?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's the September cutoff. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 8/31, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to 8/31/22. Or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Motion made by Ms. Himes. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries 6-0. Now, because we're asking you to come back in August, then we'll see where you are in the
Okay,
process.
what time of August do you want me to come back?
Actually, it's September.
September. Oh, okay.
9/8 is the date. of the
9/8,
meeting.
okay, great, okay. Yep.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Case-
thanks.
Okay, case 44. Yeah, stay in touch with Ms., I guess if nothing's happening, but stay in
Right,
touch with us.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Case 44, CEB 06222145, Stephen Mezzapapel.
Mezzapelli.
Say it?
Mezzapelli.
Mezzapelli, okay.
Stephen Mezzapelli, 1329 Edgewater Road, Daytona Beach.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we will hear from Mr. Sensen.
Okay, this is a complaint-generated case for unpermitted shed and damaged fencing. First notice was received on 28 May of '21. There's been phone contact with an engineer on 6/18 of '21, advising that he was working on required plans for the permit submittal. There's been no progress since then. Compliance was due on 18 June of '21. The property remains in non-compliance with the shed. He has repaired the fencing. We're asking for compliance by next cutoff.
Okay, so the shed just needs a permit?
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am. I tried to get a permit and they told me they couldn't permit it.
And they told you what?
I could not get a permit because the shed that was on there was 8 by 11. And when I explained to them that the concrete that the shed was originally on was 10 by 12, and that's what we built the shed on, they told me it doesn't meet the new setbacks, so I cannot get a permit.
But once again, we are not responsible
I understand
for the
that.
rules.
I understand.
I feel badly, but we're not responsible for the rules, so I don't know what.
I understand that.
You
and
may
like-
talk to Mr. Stenson and find out what your options are to come into compliance.
I tried. I'm not doing this maliciously.
No,
we
I believe
yeah.
you.
And I didn't understand the fencing thing. Are you worried about it was the bad board?
You had already repaired it.
Okay,
Yes, it's
okay.
a bad board.
Yeah, no, that's.
Okay.
So anyway, I guess you have to get a permit. Short of that, Mr. Stenson's gonna have to tell you what you need to do to come into compliance. We can't tell you
Yes,
what
ma'am.
to do. Sorry.
They literally just hand everything back, shrugged their shoulders, and said, "Good luck." And here I am.
All right. So next cutoff?
Yes.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion for my respondent non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 7/6/2022, or be returned to the board for consideration or fine of up to $1,000 per day. That's a motion. Ms. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Reinhardt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. So just ask them what you need to do, and I'm sorry, we can't.
I understand. I understand.
All right. All right, we're going to finish this page while we're on it, which would be 43.
All right. Thank you all.
Okay. 43. We're just going to go backwards, so we flip backwards now. Case number CEB 0622141, Virginia Soderin Estate. Soderin.
Yes, this was a field-generated case for unmaintained landscaping, no address numbers, and exterior wall staining. First notified on 22 November of 21 by posting. There's been no contact, no change in the property. Compliance was due on 14 December, and it remains in non-compliance. Asking for compliance by the next cutoff.
Okay.
Like it's vacant, is it vacant?
I do believe it is vacant. There hasn't been
And
any
so
activity.
there's no contact, no anything, right?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, it's somebody's estate, but nobody from the estate has responded, right?
No, no response.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 7/6/2022, or be returned to the board for consideration or fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion?
So, second.
Was that Ms. Roby?
Ms.
All right, I made the motion. Mr. Gonzalez, the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries 6-0. All right, we're going to go back to page 13. Do we have any cases on here? We have case 40. CEB 06-22-128, Hope and Kenneth Lindsay.
Yes, this is a rule of six case.
Okay, that's rules.
They were cited for unmaintained landscaping, outside storage, boat parking, damaged fencing, peeling paint, exterior surface staining. Property owner was notified on 29 November of 21. There's been no contact with the property owner. Compliance was due on 2 January of 22. The property remains in non-compliance. We're asking for non-compliance next cutoff.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, July 6, 2022, or be returned to the board for consideration for fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gonzalez, second. Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes 6-0. Do we have more? Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
I think we're finished. All right.
One quick thing.
Mr. Gonzalez, you wanted to address something?
Yes. I want to address the issue of the liens and the negotiation to come to some financial agreement. It seems to me, and I think what confirmed it to me was the attorney, the last attorney with the beard, made a comment of, I'll wait till they're done over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the attorney made a comment. I asked a question and looked at Captain Lee and said, well, I spoke to Captain Lee. And so, you know, I think that we are sanctioned to make decisions. And I think that if other people, and I'm not saying Captain Lee, you know, made a deal or whatever, but I am saying that the impression that the attorney had was that he dealt with Captain Lee and that's it.
And that was going to be the decision.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I would think that these people need to understand that, yes, we can negotiate this, but yes, the board makes the final decision. That's what we are charged with. We are charged with certain tasks, and if we don't get to complete our tasks, then we become rubber stamps. And I don't see that as our role, and I'm not saying that that's what you're trying to do.
Right.
But I am saying that it needs to be cleared up somehow that the board is the one that makes.
It is very clear. And each one of those meetings starts with a explanation to the people as to why we're doing it. And that explanation ends with saying that all our agreements ultimately have to be approved by the board and that the board can deviate from that or may have further questions. So that is explained to every applicant that comes in through that process.
pretty much said everything. I mean, that's the whole point. It's well understood. No one's really trying to impede in any way.
Well, I don't
into
think-
the,
yeah.
if I can.
Okay.
Impede in any way into the authority or the power of the board or the magistrate. It's just an effort to try and come closer together in terms of getting some resolution, recognizing that a lien
shorter amount
review.
of time.
Yeah, recognizing that a lien review is purely discretionary by the city. The power that's been granted to the board in terms of reviewing a lien review is a power that's been delegated down from the commission. But it's, it's the city's lien. But obviously, that power's been given to you all to make the ultimate decisions on, reduction or modification. And so the parties coming with a suggestion of an outcome based upon their opportunity to meet and discuss and understand where they had the differences.
Well, I'm sure that our intentions are for the best, to bring forth the best product that we all can, staff and the board. But looking at that attorney's attitude and his response, that's what his response was saying. I talked to Captain Lee, I really don't have to deal with you. That's how I took it. And I don't think I want attorneys to step up here with that type of attitude because, like I said, we have a responsibility.
Yeah, and if I could just,
I think case in point is what Ouija was saying about the $1,000. We could have overruled that.
Right.
Buck stops here.
Right. Buck stops here, is right.
and quite honestly, I mean, I didn't get what you got as far as from what the attorney was saying. If it's the last attorney, I kind of thought he was saying it was just complimentary of the process as a whole. But in any sense, we really don't have a whole lot of control of what they're doing up here. That happens from y'all end. So, in terms of saying, hey, guess what? I want you to know that the buck stops here, then y'all get to say that if that's what y'all feel, the need to say, of course, in a way that's going to be, received. And as I said, as Captain Lee made sure he makes it clear that that's no intent to say this is the final one, and seldom, and that's pretty much a standard when parties come together and talk about resolutions. The standard is to make sure it's well known that this isn't a final decision. There's someone else who makes the final decision. This is really more a suggestion of a remedy.
For us to do our job, though, I don't think we're saving that much time because I didn't feel that I got to question either party. And if these cases had come up without that, I would have asked all the questions that, I had questions to ask and I don't want it to preclude us, and we're going to have to hear the answers. So we're not saving time. I know, but we're not saving time by doing it that way, particularly because I need to know the answers to the questions, and I need to be able to ask the city, and I need to be able to ask the respondent.
Well, I think one of the things that was
And so that's not going to save any time.
I understand. I think one of the things that was really an effort to emphasize was that it's a new process.
Right.
And it's a process that probably is dealt with a little different when it's one person versus when it's a board that has to think through and discuss.
Right.
But in any sense, it's a new process where obviously it's beneficial for the staff to get the feedback on how it works and what your concerns are.
Right.
And then to try and see if they can answer those concerns. Maybe it may be better answered by a better presentation, maybe a better summary of at least where understanding, acknowledging what was submitted,
Right.
and a presentation
we didn't have
how
that.
we got-
Everybody got, it was like, they just got up and said, well, we made an agreement, and we're going, okay.
Yeah,
And if we don't like it, but we never got into the case, the lien review at all.
Yeah, and I don't think that was the intent. I don't think the intent
Okay.
was to say, okay,
No, I don't
we
think
made
that
an
was the
agreement and
intent.
we don't
Right.
want y'all to ask any
Right.
questions or say anything.
Well,
But I
but
think it comes across with that feeling, especially as a
Well, it
new
does because
presentation.
you're trying to save time.
Yeah.
We're trying to save time in the end, too. We don't want to, we want to save
Well,
time.
well, we
as
very
well,
much want-
But I see that as a problem when that certainly could probably be overcome somehow. I just see that as a problem.
The
And
goal,
I think
had
staff
today.
is listening.
the goal is not to limit the lien review, okay? So, but we all, I think all know that there's some that are pretty clear cut. They fixed them rather quickly, and, if we're all in agreement, those are the ones that we can clear off the plate. So if there's, one or two in there where you want to ask as many questions as you want, go right ahead. Or you want to ask questions on all of them, go
Well,
ahead.
I'd almost like a presentation, because sometimes when they say, their hardship, I want to know more about their hardship. Because you can read that little piece of paper, but if you don't get to question them about that hardship, for instance, it's not always complete, and there could be more to the story, or, we could find out that it's really not quite the hardship they said it was.
And I think that in those ones where people made arguments that weren't valid, those are ones that we didn't come to agreements on. You didn't have any of those on your agenda
I
this
know,
time.
but then we're depending on you instead of, and not that, I don't, but I think that's our job somehow.
When we're here, I think, I'm hearing the feedback, and I think we'll talk about it more, and we'll try and find a
Okay.
way to
Okay,
answer those things.
I want to say one thing.
go ahead.
I sent a case out, I asked staff to send you a case. Every once in a while, we get these kind of cases. I don't know if you like them, don't like them, I want to send that to you. But if I get them, I'll send them to you.
Good,
I think they're interesting.
yeah. Cross your
They
T's
come
and dot
very-
your
very
I's.
infrequent. Not a lot of cases, but once in a while, you get one of these cases.
That's directly related
It's the
to,
work you do.
right, right.
Okay.
Okay.
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
Did anyone here today contact Mr. Harrington?
I'm gonna call him.
Good question.
Because I don't want what happened a couple of years back.
Right.
So we need to know.
Yeah,
I'll call him when
because that's really, I'll try and call him from my car, but,
And then let me know.
I really, it's so unlike him, that's all.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah,
Okay, if whoever gets hold of them could let me know, please.
okay,
So that we can.
all right,
And if we do,
Okay.
I'll at least call
okay.
Sharon.
Meeting adjourned?